Hello, my dear friends. I, Vishakha Rao. I welcome you to today's session on Back to Basics, which is organic farming. This program is brought to you jointly by HCL Foundation and NGO Aroho. The program is called Aroho Hirwai Environmental Conservation and Sensitization Program for the school children. Before we go to organic farming, a discussion on organic farming, let us look back and think about green revolution. If we are thinking about green revolution, the thrust on green revolution was after the independence, especially when we started realizing that we are terribly short of food, that was grains in India, and our then prime ministers had to go with a begging bowl to a number of countries and had to face very humiliating situations. So we started thinking about how to increase the productivity of our land. The rationale behind that was, of course, the eradication of frequent famines that were faced. That was pre-independence as well as after independence. Especially like the famine in 1964-65, there was a very acute shortage of food. And that is how I would say the thinking towards green revolution was taken very seriously. Another thing, of course, like the farmers were very poor. The productivity of the farms had gone down. So eradication of poverty amongst the farmers was one of the reason behind this. As I said, productivity of the farmlands was very less because farmers were not at all using any modern methods for farming. Then reduced dependence on other nations was the prime most important reason. And so all the scientists and the bureaucrats and politicians and the leaders, they came together and the green revolution was brought in. The green revolution was very successful because of high yielding variety of seeds, better irrigation facilities, and the third and important factor was use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides. And to our great achievement, India soon became food surplus. So you would see in the picture a typical farming scenario. A picture is from Punjab. You see the lush green fields and the pesticides that is being sprayed. Now, what is today's Indian scenario? Today, a lot of farmers, they have been using excessive chemical fertilizers and pesticides and also genetically modified seeds. This has caused a severe environment damage. It has polluted our water, groundwater, as well as the waterways, the rivers and lakes and all the water bodies. The soil has become acidic, or in some cases it has become alkaline, and which has absolutely killed the beneficial organisms and the insects in the farms. Now, it has also resulted in loss of biodiversity in food. We have so many different varieties of millets, rice and wheat and traditional vegetables. But this has virtually, like when we started using the hybrid and genetically modified seeds, everybody using the same type of seed, and that has really resulted in a loss of very good varieties of seeds that we had. Now it has also resulted in loss of biodiversity of food. Now if we typically speak to our grandparents, they would say mostly they were never eating rotis, the wheat in this part. They were mostly eating jawar, and occasionally they were eating rice. If you go to coastal areas, they were mostly the rice eating families, and if you go to Punjab, they were all dependent on corn and wheat. So everywhere they were dependent on the local food. But now if you go anywhere, we eat mostly the wheat and some typical varieties of rice. Now if you go to Pune and surrounding western Maharashtra region, everybody is using today Indrayani rice. So all the farmers are only sowing Indrayani because the demand is there. In Punjab and adjoining areas, everybody is sowing only the basmati rice, without realizing that whenever we are losing on our traditional food, we are also losing a lot of nutritional values associated with it. Now the picture that you see on the screen is showing you the land which has become useless for farming. Once it must have been a very, very fertile land, and today nothing can be grown in this particular land. It has lost its water holding capacity. You can see there are no organisms and no insects can really live in this particular type of soil. It is worthwhile having a look of a story of DDT, and which is a very eye-opener for all of us. One of the first chemical which was widely used as a pesticide, in fact this DDT was used during World War II, and it was supposed to be a wonder drug. It was basically used to combat malaria, and it did control malaria in a big way, and that is why it was considered a wonder drug. And then people started using it as a pesticide in their fields. And then came a book by Rachel Carson in 1962. The name of the book was Silent Spring. This virtually brought a revolution worldwide. In America, the pressure of the people was so much that they had to establish Environment Protection Agency. Environment Protection Agency did an extensive study, and of course Rachel had given a lot of proofs, and she was basically a marine biologist. But once she realized the harm that these insecticides are causing to the wildlife and to human life and organisms and insects and birds and the nature around us, she started collecting the proofs, and she published a book with all the proofs. So this Environment Protection Agency had to take cognizance of the whole case, and then they banned DDT. The study shows a range of human health effects that was linked to DDT. It shows breast and other type of cancers. It was highly carcinogenic. It was linked to male infertility, miscarriages, and low birth weight was found. In the children, it showed developmental delays. It was also linked to nervous system and liver damages, and many other serious health issues. And then there was a bitter realization amongst the whole world. And the realization was, when fertilizers and pesticides are used in farmlands, in some way or the other, they are entering the human bodies. They are directly or indirectly, they are entering the food grains, vegetables, fruits, which is affecting the human health. Pesticides remain on the surface of the fruits, vegetables, and other vegetation, and these enter the bodies of the human as well as the livestock, because you know that most of the livestock is dependent on green vegetables and green fodder. Chemicals are also transmitted to humans through the milk, meat, and the eggs that we eat. The chemicals again remain on the surface and they pollute water. So again they enter our body through the water that we drink, because all the water today is highly polluted by the chemicals. And the bitter realization was, all these chemicals are bad for health. They create acute health problems. They create dizziness, abdominal pain, headaches, eye problems, and also chronic problems like liver and kidney damage. They are highly carcinogenic. If you see today, if you go through the statistics in Punjab, in India, if we take a case of Punjab, maximum cases of cancer are in Punjab, because Punjab farmers have been using very high levels of fertilizers, chemical fertilizers, and also the pesticides. If we take case of USA, very high number of cancer cases are found in USA. And this is in comparison, if we go to Europe, the number of cases are less, because Europe is still not using so high levels of fertilizers. Now, if we know about DDT now, that it was banned, but in India, it is still not banned. Our farmers are still using it. What is organic farming? The first and foremost thing about organic farming is, organic farming does not permit use of chemical fertilizers, pesticides, insecticides, and herbicides. In organic farming, the produce system is reliant on green manure, compost, biological pest control. It is dependent on crop rotation and livestock. So in picture you would see like what all organic farming comprises of. It comprises of vermicomposting, green leaf manure, crop rotation, biological manure, then animal husbandry, biofertilizers, and compost, that is composting manure from the waste. Organic farming is dependent on developing ecological diversity in the farm to interrupt habitation of pests and diseases. This improves the soil fertility. Basically, whenever you are using a crop rotation and using different types of crops, it naturally controls the pests also. No, as I said, like organic farming as a principle does not allow use of anything synthetic, that is fertilizer, pesticide, herbicide, and also the antibiotics. because livestock was highly dependent on antibiotics, and then it was seen that through the livestock, the milk, meat, and eggs that we eat, they retain some part of antibiotics, some percentage of antibiotics, and which unnecessarily enter the human body. Now, organic farming is not only about food, it also talks about fibers, that is vegetable fiber, which has cotton, which has bamboo, which also has banana fiber, and lot of other fibers that human beings use. Then of course it talks about grains, vegetables and fruits. It also talks about flowers, and we also of course talk about animal products, which is milk, eggs and meat. Organic farming is not only methodology of farming, it is basically a way of life where we are going back to sustainable living. And why is organic farming very important to us? Because it improves human health. It is safest for human consumption. It does not include any modified ingredients and has very low level of chemicals. It is very important for environmental sustainability. This promotes ecological harmony, biodiversity and biological cycles. The cost of production goes down with organic farming because we are no more using our money on buying chemical fertilizers and chemical pesticides. Everything basically is being recycled. Organic farming is also trying to promote use of local seeds. Again, one major environmental impact that it has is very low level of carbon footprints. Since we are really not buying anything which is made in the factory, we are using very less energy, which has low carbon footprints, and thus very environmental friendly method of production. And one and most important thing is it does not pollute anything. It is not polluting our food, it is not polluting our water, it is not polluting the air and the environment. It is letting other insects and organisms grow in the soil and thus improves the soil fertility. The last slide that you see is a farm which is showing different varieties of food that he is growing in his farmland, and he is doing it organically. So friends, let's all think on using toxin-free food and let's go back to basics, that is organic farming. In the next sessions, we are also going to see how to make compost at homes, biofertilizers at home and biopesticides at home. Thank you very much for listening to me in today's session. If you want to write to us or communicate something, our email ID is aroha.nagpur@gmail.com. My personal email ID is vishakharao@redditmail.com. Thank you and goodbye.